Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another Dog Pack Discord episode of the Dogs Podcast here on Discord. Josh and Kenny Mack hosting. We've got a whole bunch of people in the audience in our Discord, so it's going to be a fun show. And this will be the last Dog Pack Discord show for about 2 weeks because next week I'll be on vacation, so we won't be doing one next week, but we will be back the week after that. If you're watching on YouTube, first of all, like the video, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell. We're getting close and closer to the 10,000 subscriber mark. And if you are watching on YouTube, you notice that I'm holding my microphone today because I packed up my mic arm from my home studio to send on the road with Blake and Justin next week to go up and interview Deshaun Watson at the 7-on-7 tournament. And I realized for the show today, I don't have a mic arm. So I got my hand, I got my own arm, and I will be holding this thing for the duration of the show. So, Kenny, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Just checking out some Browns highlights right now. And I saw the Chief had his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Chief. Other than that, man, I have been firing up concerts all week because it is concert time up here in Ottawa.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so I'm sorry. I was just making sure I had stuff running on my computer the way it was supposed to, which I did not. So if you were listening to the first part of the show, there was no video. So there we go. But anyway, we're good to go now. Who wants to come up on stage first? Anybody out there want to just pop your hand up and we'll throw you up here? All right, we've got our boy Andrew Jackson, of course. Let me go ahead and put him on the stage. Andrew, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? So,
man,
let's have fun with this. Start this off. So, looking at the schedule for this upcoming season, what record would you be happy with at the end of the regular season? Like, how would you like that to play out? What record would you be happy with, and what games are a must-win in your book?
All right. Well, I got to pull up the schedule now real quick, but I will just, while I'm pulling that up, I'll just say to be happy. So obviously, I mean, like 14-3 would be awesome, but we all know we play in the AFC North. We all know that, you know, it was the first time, gosh, what was it? 1936 or something was the last time all four teams in a division finished with winning records or something like that. So it's been almost like a freaking century. So that happened last year. I think it's going to be another gauntlet, especially in our own division. But I'd be happy with 12-5 because I think 12-5 gets you in the playoffs. Heck, 12-5 might win the division, just depending on what games the Ravens slip up, or, you know, if the Steelers just hover a little above 500. But Kenny, what do you think as far as win total?
I think 10 or 11. I'm going to say the same thing as last year. I think everybody's going to beat each other up. It is tough when you go into games where you got to play consecutive AFC North opponents for anybody in the league and for anybody in that actual division itself. Ultimately, like when we start, I'd like to really get off to a good start and beat Dallas at home, beat the Jaguars, beat the Giants, the Raiders, and the Commanders right off the get-go. Like, just start with a good start, and then if you basically in every other game from that point, you know, split the division and win every other game from that point, I think you're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, I agree. I think I know we open with Dallas. I really want to get that week 1 victory, and it's great that we're at home with our defense and everything. I think we have a very good chance of winning that game. It's not going to be an easy one, but I think as week 2 starts your must win, I think you got to beat the Jags. You got to go down there, come back with a win, no matter what happens week 1. And then you have got to go on a run here. You've got to beat the Giants. You've got to beat the Raiders. You've got to beat the Commanders. And then you get to Philadelphia, and that's week 6. There's going to be injuries and different things in the league playing out that we didn't see coming. Teams that are good that we didn't think would be. CJ Stroud all of a sudden's a superstar when, you know, a couple months ago he couldn't pass the S2 test or whatever last year. That stuff happens every season. But I think right there, you've got a 4-game stretch where in my opinion, you got to go 4-0. You got to beat the Jags, the Giants, the Raiders, and the Commanders, and then kind of take it after that. I think, you know, play the Eagles, We'll see what happens. I think you got to beat the Bengals twice. We beat up on them every time we play them, and I think that has to continue, especially in our division. To get 2 wins right there against that team just helps if we split with the other 2, whatever, that helps us a lot in the division. I think you got to beat the Chargers, you got to beat the Saints, you got to beat the Broncos. Then I think you're looking really pretty.
Because if you slip up, man, boy, oh boy, at the end of the year, it's not looking too good, because you're looking at 14 and above. It's going to be tough sailing, man, because you have Steelers, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, and Ravens to end the season. And if you go split those, that was 5 games. They'll be tough to split, but you guys know what I mean. If you go 3-2 in those, or 2-3, you better have a good record when it comes down the stretch. And it's never good when you're heading into the playoffs and you're on a slide. It just never bodes well.
No, it does not. Kevin S. in the chat says we have to make the playoffs, and we have to win in the playoffs. One and done is unacceptable to me. I totally agree. Unless, of course, we end up in injury hell like last year, and then it's making the playoffs is a freaking miracle. But I get what you're saying with the roster the way it is, barring any catastrophic injuries and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. I think we've got to win in the playoffs. It'd be nice to win a couple games. It'd be nice to go all the way, of course, but we have got to make our presence felt in the postseason and show that we are a for real franchise after the regular season is over. And let's see, I think Big Dog Turner here says, Fantasy League, I'm not sure you got my request, but I want to play again. I'm going to use that as a quick reminder for everybody out there watching or listening on audio. The fantasy football leagues are open right now. We've got signups on Patreon. It's jointhedogs.com. Head over there, become an official Dog Pack member. Drop your name in the sign-up list to play fantasy leagues with us. Kenny's going to run a league. I run a league. Blake, Justin, we'll probably pull John Nye back in to run a league. And last year we had 5 redraft leagues. This year we'd like to get up to 6, 7, 8 maybe if we can. We've already got 1.5 probably filled, maybe even 2 at this point. I'm not sure. So I know fantasy in terms of redraft is still kind of like a month out, month and a half to really till you're drafting and things, but we have got to get the leagues finalized. We've got to get everybody coordinated so we can schedule the draft dates and times and get everybody in there to get it done and get the season kicked off. So don't wait. If you want to play fantasy football with us, if you've been listening the last couple of years and you think, oh, that sounds like fun, it might be kind of cool to do one of these times, give it a try. These guys will attest to it. It's a ton of fun playing fantasy in our leagues. We have a lot of good interactions with everybody. We've developed some really great friendships with everybody in the Patreon, in the Discord. So come check it out. Hang out with some awesome Browns fans. Jointhedogs.com. Become an official Dog Pack member. Right on cue, Brad Moneymaker wants to come up and speak.
Hi. What's up?
Hey, my man.
What's
How you
up,
doing?
buddy?
Cheers, guys. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Not too bad.
Good. Speaking of fantasy, Mr. Joshua, what's going to be your decision here? You going to go long snapper, kicker?
No, so Brad's referring to our second Dynasty League in the Patreon that we've created. And we are currently in the middle of our startup draft. And of course, these guys pushed all the way so that I could be on the clock during the show. And now they're putting me on the spot to go in and pick. I got to do it on my computer because I'm using my phone as the camera. So is that what you want me to do, Brad? You want me to go in and make a pick?
Yes, do it.
All right. So I kicked off my draft in the Dynasty League. I've got Justin Jefferson, Marvin Harrison Jr. Feel sweet about that. I grabbed Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, and Bo Nix so far to be my quarterbacks. I grabbed Jonathan Brooks as a good young running back to see what I can get out of him. And now it's time to build up my squad, and I am going to go with, see if this even lets me do this selection. I'm going with Mike Evans. So there we go.
Ooh.
Right. Solid 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, man.
If I can get a wide receiver.
85-year-old wide receiver. Got it. Cool.
Yep. So that's my guy. That is my dude. So there you go. I made my pick
Hall of
live.
Famer, man. Hall of Famer.
Hey, at some point
sure.
you got to try to win, and I would like to have. Now that's 3 pretty good receivers on my squad that I feel good about this season. So, Brad, do you have any?
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, one last question. I know some of the guys in Discord, I think you said it too. Not all. I know you're going on vacation, so It's kind of throwing it up in the air now, but are you and whoever has the game hitting college football, NCAA, 25 or whatever they're calling it now?
College football.
You excited for
25. I am very excited for that. Obviously that's next Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 18th, I'll be in Hilton Head. So, I mean, I'm obviously not taking my PS5 with me. I don't think the wife would like that very much. So I will be grabbing that as soon as I get back and probably going through some sleepless nights and all that kind of stuff as I just go back 10 years into my past. Man, that last NCAA 14 game was so much fun. And it's just one of those games that it's been... Since they quit making it and quit doing it, it's just been a total void, and it just feels like I would love to play some college football video games right now. And I'm very excited.
Okay,
for
man.
it.
My next question: What's the first team you're picking for Dynasty?
Ohio State, man. Are you kidding me? That's my alma mater. That's my alma mater, baby. I got to go with Ohio State. I can't spend a whole bunch of time looking at any other helmet, man. That's my team. That's my school.
All right, guys. Well, I'll keep listening. You guys keep talking.
All right,
Later.
man.
Down.
Kenny, are you a video game guy? Do you play any of that stuff? Are you going to play college football or any of that?
Well, I used to. I mean, at this point, I'm so busy right now. I just do not have the time to game, and I'm gonna finish out this Blues Fest pass, and then I'm gonna sleep for a week, and then get back into it. But I would be picking the Buckeyes as well. I would also, for fun, I would pick the Running Rebels. They're scarlet and gray as well, so that'd be like my little side team. But it would be Buckeyes all the way for me.
Yep. Yes, sir. Does anybody else want to jump up here? Hand up in the chat or in the audience here. Going once, going twice. So
good looking audience, guys. Good looking audience.
Yeah,
Lots
a lot of you guys
Great.
out there. Somebody want to jump up here real quick before I start my own topic? Okay, there we go. We got Pastor. Oh wait, yeah, okay. Oh, Pastor Rob put his hand down. So Butters is going to come on up.
Right on, my man.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on, man?
How you doing, bud?
You're about to take Kent State to 5 national championships in a row. I like it.
Yeah, because I have a chance right now than Saban coming back to save us, so someone's got to do it.
I'm not going to lie. Whenever 14 was out, I did do a run with Kent State because it was just, that's the school right up, north where I lived, and a lot of my friends went to Kent State, so I gave it a whirl. It was a lot of fun, but what's going on, man? What do you got?
So I'm kind of curious because I feel like this popped up probably about 2 weeks ago, got kind of big, and then everyone just kind of forgot about it. But this is kind of a question more for the NFL as a whole. But I know for Browns fans, we all are probably going to be curious in a few years how this affects us. But the whole Sunday ticket can't roll. So I don't know exactly how all that's going to play out fully. But what was it? They found the NFL is civilly liable for $4 or $5 billion. And some of the reporting is kind of saying, hey, the NFL is basically going to hit the cap is where it's going to come from. And teams are going to have to use their cap to basically pay for those damages. And for the Browns, the way that Andrew Berry has structured some of these deals has been, hey, we have a long-rooted history of the cap going up year by year, excluding COVID. So we'd like to backload our deals. One of the ways we've made Deshaun's contract work the way we have is by backloading stuff, and with the expectation the cap will continually grow and grow. But if the cap takes a massive hit because of the legal proceedings of this case, does that put the Browns in a really bad spot where we're going to have to start making massive cuts that we didn't expect? Or, how do you think this could play out in the future for us?
All right, so I will admit I have not been following that whole NFL Sunday ticket situation very closely. I haven't taken the time to read up on it, so I can't really speak too much to it. Kenny, do you have an answer for Butters? If not, we'll see if maybe Andrew or somebody in the chat wants to come up here and talk about it a little bit.
No, the only thing I can add to like DirecTV, I do not get up here in Canada. The rights to the NFL is distributed by a company out of the Netherlands or Germany. I can't believe it's called DAZN. It's DAZN. Pastor Rob probably uses that, and maybe Thrilla uses that as well. And it is a Netflix type of app, and that's how we stream it. So I don't have to worry about YouTube. I don't have to worry about any of these things. I just use DAZN and I get every single game that I want. We stream it through when we do our chapter parties here up for the Ottawa Browns backers. So that would be more of I guess a local United States thing. And then I don't know who, when you get a class action suit like that, I don't know who the beneficiaries are. Is it everybody who's ever purchased it, which is generally case, or is it just the bars in general, or where that's going? So it's a bit of news to me, and I was looking it up as you were speaking.
This episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Dog Pack, the summer's in full swing, and you guys know what that means. Omaha Steaks annual Hotter Than Fire sale. Go to omahasteaks.com right now, and for a limited time, you guys can get big savings on great packages from Omaha Steaks for just $99. Plus, you guys can get an extra $10 off that order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, at checkout. So these packages with that promo code are essentially $89. From exquisite steaks to legendary burgers, the premium pork, the air-chilled chicken, the meatballs, the chicken wings, the appetizers, the ready-to-eat meals, the wine, everything that Omaha Steaks has to offer. Head over there today, check it out. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale to get these exclusive savings on the mouthwatering packages that start at just $99 plus. Use that code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out for an extra $10 off your order. But hurry, because this sale is only available for a limited time. Summer always flies by, and this deal is going to fly by, so you're not going to want to miss it. Go shop today, omahasteaks.com. Use promo code DAWGS at checkout for an extra $10 off your order. All right, so we got Pastor Rob up on stage here. Did you want to chime in on this topic?
Yeah, so I don't know American law, but the cap is just an arbitrary number that is put in there to limit the amount of spending in the NFL and to try and make it a play like the same play. But the amount of profit they're making is well above all the caps of all the teams. So what they're spending is less than what they're making. The money they made from Amazon alone is like way more than what the NFL spends. What the NFL makes generally is a heck of a lot more money than what they're spending. Hence why people get really annoyed at why you should be paying players better. They're creating vast sums of revenue. So if they were to take the cap number down, that's like an arbitrary reduction in spending, but I don't know why they would do that, because it only hampers the product on the field. If you drop the cap, that means you're getting players less money. It's almost like the owners are putting it onto the fans and the players rather than onto their bank balances, which are already massive. It's a very strange way to deal with basically getting a fine.
Okay. Thank you for that. Andrew Jackson, did you want to chime in too?
Yeah. So everything that I've read about this is all about the fact that, they monopolize it. It's all an antitrust lawsuit. And the fact that the old DirecTV system didn't market it as a premium service, where YouTube has kind of marketed that way, because I get because it's already been going on. But as everything, like I said, everything that I have read about the whole Sunday ticket stuff is, it's not going to affect anything. They're what Butters has said. Like I've saw that too. It's the fact that like it's the NFL scare tactic of, oh, you guys shouldn't, do this. You guys shouldn't, basically sign up for this lawsuit because it's always going to hamper this. It's more of that political media scare tactic more than anything. But there's some like provisions in it that could quadruple up to $20 billion that they had to pay out to consumers. So I know it's like a 7-8 year time frame that they're looking at of anybody that ever had it. I mean, even if you had DirecTV and it came free, as a by 1 year, 1 year free kind of thing, like you're in this time frame, you're a part of this lawsuit. But to me, it's like I said, when I read it, some of that stuff's a scare tactic. They're going to be fine because now after they just announced this lawsuit, like the findings and everything, the league announced that they had just had was the biggest profitable year that they'd ever had. And I think it was like 15 billion. It was close to that 20 billion high number that they were talking about. So, I mean, they're not hurting. I mean, it's just billionaires trying to keep billions. I mean, they just don't want to have to pay it at the end of the day, but I do know that they failed to market it like they should. So that's the biggest issue with it.
Okay. Well, thanks for jumping in here and giving us that information. I appreciate it. Pastor Rob, did you have anything you wanted to add while you were up here?
I was going to ask while I was up, who do you think is going to be the league winners? Each division? Or
who do we think is going to win each division in the NFL?
Yeah. But
Okay.
I'll leave that for a later question. You can carry on with Buster Butters.
Okay, gotcha. Butters did that. Okay, he jumped off the stage. So that's cool. We will go ahead and answer your question about the division winners. And I mean, AFC East? I'll go with the. Who do you think? I'm thinking Bills.
I think the Bills are they're kind of in the area where they might go up or down. I feel like the Dolphins, it might be their year this year just to get one game ahead of these guys. So I'm going to go Dolphins just to be different.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, though. I mean, everyone's like, oh, well, the Bills might take a step back. They lost Diggs and Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis was really a sparingly used player anyway for them last year. Stephon Diggs kind of took a step back anyway the second half of the season anyhow. So how much are they really losing? I don't know. So I'm probably just going to hold fast with the Bills. But what about, let's see, AFC South for you?
AFC South might be a surprise because they're kind of like the NFC South. You never know who's going to win, and everybody's going to be 9-8. I'm going to go and take the upstart Colts, and Anthony Richardson has a heck of a year.
I like that. We did some, just kind of some early honors, winners, predictions things like a month ago, and I picked Anthony Richardson as like a dark horse MVP candidate. So I like the Colts in that one. I think that it's between Houston and Indianapolis, but since you said Colts, I'll go Texans, but I could definitely see that going either way, kind of like you said. And then AFC West. Is that even a question?
I'm just going to go with the Chiefs until they prove us wrong.
Chiefs, yep, that's the easiest one of all. And then probably the most difficult one would be AFC North with our Brownies.
I'm going to go Browns. Obviously, I'm a homer, but the way I'm looking at it is the Ravens lost a lot. They lost their defensive coordinator. The Steelers are depending and leaning on rookies, and we're just going to – we can beat Joe Burrow, whether we split him or sweep him, whatever. He might just be a little bit too big for the quarterback position, and Brady quit it up this year. So I'm going to go Browns.
You know what? And I understand it's a Browns podcast. We are all Browns fans. It is a little homerism, but why not the Browns? Like you said, the Ravens lost some pieces. They've got some figuring out to do on like their offensive line, the defensive coordinator. Nobody really knows. Like it's all new for them. Pittsburgh, who knows what they're going to get out of that quarterback situation between Wilson and Fields. They've got Arthur Smith coming in. Is he the coordinator that was in Tennessee, or is he the head coach that was in Atlanta? We will find out. Cincinnati, I don't really worry too much about them. I know they got a great quarterback, some good weapons, but it takes more than that, as we know. And we were able to do some big things last year with a lot of injuries. So Blake says it all the time. The biggest improvement we could make for our team this offseason was just getting the guys we already had to be healthy. And we did that. And not only did we do that, we added pieces, added coaches, changed the offense. Just all good things for the Browns. So I guess we can flip over to the NFC. Let's go NFC East.
I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be up and down, and this is going to be an up year for them based on the down year last year. They got a lot of pieces that remain the same like the Browns. So if I'm going to stick with that consistency card, I'm going to throw my chips down on the Eagles.
All right, I'm going to take the Cowboys just because I still think they've got a really good team. You know, it's a good defense. They've got a good quarterback and everything. I think it's going to be okay for them. So I could see it between either of those. But don't be surprised that the Commanders are a little better than maybe the average person is giving them credit for this season. So we'll see how that goes. What would be next? NFC South.
NFC South, well, whoever finished on the bottom usually finishes up the top. I don't believe in the Panthers. So we're looking at Tampa Bay. We're looking at the Saints, and we're looking at the Falcons. I'm going to take a surprise team. I'm going to take the Falcons. I think with the new coaching and I think they just can pull it out. Just with the topsy-turvy nature of that division, whoever you think's going to win, and most people are probably going to pick Tampa Bay, they aren't.
Yeah. We've been talking about Tampa Bay losing Canales and, you know, what kind of effect that might have on the offense and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to take the Falcons, and I don't really think it's that much of a sleeper pick or anything. I mean, they pay big money for Kirk Cousins. They've got the offensive weapons. I like the coaching moves they made. I really think they got some good pieces in place. Will it all come together? We'll see. But on paper, I think they've got all the makings to win that division, especially since it's so weak. But what do you think about the NFC West?
NFC, you know what? It's kind of funny. I'm talking and I'm trying to remember who their big signing was. I'm like, I know they got a new coach. I'm sitting there trying to figure. And then you're saying, I'm like, oh, Kirk Cousins. I'm like, I wanted to pick him because of Kirk Cousins for Christ's sakes. You know, what are we on next? West 49ers, man. 49ers.
Yeah, that's kind of like the AFC West. It's pretty easy. 49ers. And then what about NFC North? This one could be very interesting.
I am going with the Lions. I mean, I am from closer to Detroit than I am Cleveland. I've seen a ton of silver and Honolulu blue in my life, and I'll cheer for my buddies, I guess. The Packers may come back this year. I wouldn't underestimate the Packers ever. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff going for Chicago based on having the first pick. I don't see them getting to the first place this year, though. I think the rookie starts off rough and comes back kind of like Baker Mayfield did and have a good end of the year.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will go ahead and take the Packers in this one. I've seen what Matt LaFleur is able to do with a competent quarterback. It's like 13-3 is like his average when he's got a good quarterback play. And I think that Jordan Love is ready to take that next step. He showed it last year that he can. Now, it doesn't always mean they will, but he definitely showed the signs that it's going to happen, so I got to believe it until it doesn't. So I'll take the Packers, and I believe that wraps everything up for that discussion, guys. So does anybody, or did you have something else you want to say?
I just say Jordan Love, man, he's on my keeper league and he's in my dynasty league. Please have a great season. I'll be shooting to the moon, man.
Yeah, he just went first round in our new startup that we're doing. So does anybody out there want to jump up on stage, ask a question, or give us a take? Oh, Brad's coming on back up. Maybe. There we go.
Well. So, got a question for you guys. Who do you think out of the, first round rookies is going to have the biggest breakout year this year? Who has the best chance to break out this year? Like have a, rookie of the year kind of year.
Crap, now I got to bring up a list of who was always drafted in the first round.
Oh man, I got one guy. He's going to get the most targets. He's going to be the offensive rookie of the year. It's going to be Harrison. Kyler Murray, as soon as that guy was drafted, he has been licking his chops to throw up bombs to this guy so he can catch him. He misses Hopkins. It's going to be like his Hopkins for him, except this guy is going to be a little bit better route runner, and he's going to get a lot more balls. He's probably going to catch a lot more balls.
It's very easy to see it being Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, I know, generational prospect, but he actually is. Like, he is that good. So I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I was trying to think of some of the defensive players, but we didn't have a defensive player picked until like halfway through the round. So I'm trying to remember who some of them were and all that kind of stuff. But I could see, maybe like a young cornerback coming on and popping off the screen pretty quick and being like, oh, wow, that guy was picked in the 20s or something. I'm trying to think of some of the names like Quinyon Mitchell. What do we got? Don't be surprised. Pastor Rob says,
Watson,
don't be surprised.
baby. Boogie Watson. Let's go. 10 sacks.
Yeah, they're showing, let's see, Xavier Worthy in the chat. Brock Bowers' name got thrown out there. So, yeah, I could see it being one of those guys. I mean, even a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jaguars. I mean, there's really no established alpha number one receiver in Jacksonville. I know that Trevor Lawrence likes to spread the ball around a little bit, but he could come out and kind of take over that spot. So it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot. This was a good draft this year for sure.
Yeah. And I'm picking in the dynasty right now, and I'm gonna go real risky right here.
Oh, you're doing it live?
I'm doing it live.
Well, buddy, what's your options, my man?
Well, I'm stuck between a running back or a wide receiver. Yeah. So that's kind of
was half PPR or PPR.
It's PPR, and then running backs get a extra half point per yard
per reception.
Oh man,
per reception. Reception. Yeah.
Butter says Jared Verse is being slept on for the Rams. I agree with that.
Who's being slept on?
Jared Verse.
Was that
the defensive end for the Rams?
So we're gonna go with the rookie here, and we're gonna go with Trey Benson out of Florida State.
Ooh. All right, not a bad pick. I was thinking about him with my last pick as well, but I had already gone Jonathan Brooks. So we'll see how these rookie running backs play out this year, since none of them were taken really like all that high. It's not like a Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs type situation, but could still work out very well. We like Trey Benson as a possibility for the Browns at one point too. So
absolutely.
Let's bring Andrew Jackson back.
All right, later, bro.
Thanks, Brad.
Later, my man.
Oh, I mean, I'm just assuming it's the coolest thing in the world to pick live on Discord show right now, right?
Why are you up?
I mean, I am.
All right. Well, what's your pick? Do you know what you're going to do?
I mean, I'm glad my guy botched it. I mean, it's fine. I mean, good job, Brad. But because I'm pretty positive what's coming up next, so I might do a little reach here, and I'm gonna grab one of your guys' guys here, Mr. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay, he was on my short list,
nice.
So.
Yeah,
I think he's
fired up for sure.
JSN's, in my opinion, poised for a better season for sure. In year two, they've got, I just saw his name earlier too. I forget the OC's name coming over from Washington. Whatever. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a more pass-friendly offense, I think. So I think you're going to see. I feel like Waldron didn't really know how to use JSN. I think he was. What do you have last year? Like two targets or something the entire season, or 2 routes run and 2 wide receiver sets. Otherwise, he was relegated strictly to the slot, and that was it. And they didn't run a whole lot of 3 wide receiver sets. So I think it'll be a much better season. And he's hella talented.
So if you're just looking at the Browns and you're kind of thinking with a mind of fantasy, what do you think that now this is all healthy, it's all relatively healthy. What do you think stats look like for some of our big players here, skill players? What do you think that the end of the year stats could be for our guys?
Well, if you watched today's episode, which if you're listening to this after we've recorded this, it's already Sunday. So the hot take bold prediction show, Blake said his hot take was Deshaun Watson finishes top 5 in passing yards this year, said it's not out of the realm of possibility whatsoever, considering he's already finished top 1 before, and we're designing the offense to be more pass focused, to operate and function in his play style, and to really benefit his game. So I think that it could be a really, really nice statistical season for Deshaun. It could be good. I see Gage in the chat says Njoku 808 touchdowns. Not 808 touchdowns, 800 yards and 8 touchdowns. And I think that's totally possible. I think that Jerry Jeudy's going to have a fine season. Amari Cooper's going to get his, maybe a little bit less because there's a little more mouths to feed. I think Cedric Tillman might take a decent step. What do you think, Kenny?
I'm going to go with what Ted Ginn Jr. said about the offense that Dorsey ran under Cam Newton, and I would look to see where every single position finished and see what's realistic for the Browns. But I like what you're saying about Deshaun Watson. I think he's got the highest ceiling. He's the trigger man, and if he can combine what either Cam Newton or Josh Allen's done under Dorsey's tutelage, then I think we're looking at something really special. Ultimately, if you look back at the team, I'm going to go off the top of my head because I was trying to look it up. Believe they had Ted there, and he was their fast guy. But the guy that moves the chains was Mushin Muhammad. Then they had another receiver, and it escapes me, and I'm trying to compare everybody in my head. But
yeah,
Cooper is going to be Muhammad, right? And he's going to be the chain mover. And then Judy is the other guy who I can't recall right now, and he's going to be a bit of your faster guy. And I believe they had, they had another guy that would get first downs. But if I was taking a look at it, I would know a little bit more. And I like the comparison. They had 2 really good backs at the time as well. If we can get Chubb back, if we can get Dontario Foreman going, and I'm really liking Aiden Robbins. I mean, this guy is training with Nick Chubb. I'm not saying he's going to be Nick Chubb, but training with somebody that is an all-pro and that is like one of the tops in the league cannot hurt your game. So I think he's only will ascend.
That was another one of my hot takes. So if you guys haven't watched it yet, spoiler alert, but I did say that, and that's a hot take, obviously, but Aiden Robbins takes over the lead RB role in a timeshare with Jerome Ford, with Deontay Foreman as the spell guy. So we'll see. We will see what happens, but I do definitely like the running back room that we've assembled. I think that I don't think anybody's going to go out there and crush 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 yards. Justin had hot take that Nick Chubb was going to only miss 2 games, come back, still get 1,200 and 10 touchdowns. Definitely a hot take because that's going to take a lot of doing on Nick Chubb's part. But either way, I will settle for a run game that's just freaking efficient because last year it was not.
Yeah, no, it was far from it. And I hope they move forward to a role that he really thrives at because he must have been frustrated by the end of the year. He just wasn't getting the runs. But man, did he ever shine in that passing game? Like he was stellar, 5 touchdowns compared to 2, right? So let's get him a lot of touches and get him out in the open space as a third down receiving back specialist.
Yeah, Butters in the chat says his hot take, Jerome Ford is going to really trim down the negative yard plays since the style of running will be significantly quicker pace and more inside runs. You know, we've talked about that on the show too. Like, while Jerome Ford was not efficient last year, he was, I think, the second or third least efficient running back in the entire league based on next-gen stats. It could have been the running scheme. Maybe it just didn't fit him. Not all players are, one scheme fits all type of guys. We've seen it with Deshaun. The Kevin scheme just does not fit him to his strengths, and that's why we're redesigning the offense. So it could benefit Jerome Ford too. We could see a really nice season out of him, and it wouldn't shock me. I would be very pleasantly surprised to see a much better efficient season out of him. This episode is brought to you by Manly Bands. Dawg Pack, if you followed the show for a while, you know that I recently got married. I got my wedding band at Manly Bands. Now, I opted for something a little more simple, so I just got a plain simple gold polished band from Manly Bands, but that's not everybody. And I'm telling you, they've got so many cool different designs and materials available. They've got bands made out of Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels, meteorites, even dinosaur bones. It's so cool. Just head to manlybands.com, check out the selection, see what they have. They've even got build your own bands if you want to make a custom style band for yourself. And right now, use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, at manlybands.com when you check out, and you'll get 25% off your order. 25% is a big deal. So make sure, if you guys are looking for a new wedding band, Blake mentioned last week or two on the show that, he's lost a lot of weight in the last year. And so his wedding band is a little too big for him. So he's thinking about getting a new one. And I told him, I said, just go to Manly Bands, see what they got. And the 25% off your order is such a great deal. You really can't beat it. So at least go check it out, see what they have. They've got some really cool stuff. And again, promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, if you decide to buy one, and you'll get 25% off of that purchase. If you don't know your ring size, you can order a free ring size guide. They'll ship it straight to you. You can punch out the little rings and put them on your finger to see which size fits you best. And then every single band you order comes with a free silicone ring for whenever you want to work out or go swimming or whatever you need a silicone band for. You get one for free shipped with your purchase of a Manly Band from manlybands.com. So check it out. Again, manlybands.com. Use promo code DAWGS for 25% off your order. Kevin says, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think would have the best chance to win the MVP that's not a quarterback? You got anybody off the top of your head, Kenny?
Oof, man, that'd be tough. It'd have to be a receiver. Somebody's going to get over 125 balls, 1,800 yards, and like 15 to 18 touchdowns. I think if Minnesota does anything, and the young lad there from Michigan is throwing the ball to
Jefferson,
the receiver
Jefferson.
I think that would be it right there. I think that would be one of your candidates. I'd have to look at it a little bit more.
I kind of like what Butter said in the chat. He says CeeDee Lamb. I could see that. As far as wide receiver goes, I think Tyreek Hill is always in that conversation because if he just has he is a candidate at any point in time, at least right. I know he's 30 years old, but he's still that guy that could pop off and have a 2,000 plus yard season. I mean, if he came out and caught 2,000 yards and had 15 or more touchdowns, would anybody be blown away shocked? Like, I can't believe that ever happened. No, you wouldn't be. You'd say, well, that was a really good season by a really great player. So I could see that with him and obviously Christian McCaffrey and maybe even a guy like Bijan Robinson if all this utilization in Atlanta trends the direction that they've been saying and everything in the reports that he's going to be used more like CMC. He's got the talent. If he gets the opportunity, we still don't really know what the ceiling is there. Andrew Jackson, what's your favorite non-Browns player you love watching play?
Mine was Aaron Donald. I loved Aaron Donald, and I loved watching him. I thought he was a badass. I liked the defensive tackle position. In the course of my lifetime, I've always respected Jerry Rice because he's the GOAT of receivers. And, when I was younger, who didn't love watching the trigger man for Jerry Rice, Joe Montana?
Yeah, I just have a personal. I really like Dak Prescott. I think he's had a cool story. I think his journey through the NFL and to being one of the top quarterbacks right now has been fun to see, and he's just been fun. And just plus, I watched a lot of the Cowboys when Zeke came in the league out of Ohio State because I love Zeke, and they came in together. So I kind of got a whole lot of exposure to the both of them, and just got a fondness for Dak. And defensively, I always liked watching Khalil Mack. Whenever he was in his heyday, just wrecking people, I thought on defense he was definitely a fun one to watch. Andy in the chat says Brock Purdy for him. Brock Purdy's another one that his story being the last pick in the draft to leading the San Francisco freaking 49ers, one of the best teams in the league. Now he's their starting quarterback, leads them to a Super Bowl. It's not a victory, but to an appearance. It's pretty impressive.
I found the guy that I found the stuff that I was looking for. So when you're taking a look at the team that went to the Super Bowl for the Panthers, you're looking at Jonathan Stewart, and Jonathan Stewart was very similar actually to Jerome Ford. He could take the ball out of the backfield and he could run well enough. They also had Kevin Benjamin is who they had. He was a big receiver, not Mushi Muhammad. And then Ted Ginn Jr. was a guy that could move it down the field. But they also had a guy named Jericho Cottrady, and he could get going. But the biggest thing is the comparison, and we're talking about tight end, was Greg Olsen to David Njoku. Big guys that could block, but also receiving specialists, very athletic guys.
Yeah, Greg Olsen was fun to watch as well. Let's see. Does anybody want to throw their hand up and jump up here on the stage? Kind of winding toward the end of the show here a little bit. So if anybody wants to jump up, talk a little bit, give us a question or whatever, just put your hand up and we'll throw you up here. Andrew Jackson coming on back up. All right, boy. What's going on?
All right, because you just brought it up about Brock Purdy here. And I saw something actually earlier today about it. Do you think it's a total failure by the 49ers if they don't win the Super Bowl this year while he's still under his rookie contract? Because you know that, I mean, there's cash strapped everywhere else because he's playing so well on that minimal contract. You think if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, it is a total failure?
So I would not personally use the words total failure just because it is so hard to win a Super Bowl. We talk about that all the time. You know, I argue with so many people online, these idiots that are just, oh, it's Super Bowl or they need to tear it down for the Browns. It's like, why? They've built something great here. The goal every year is just to compete, because you can't go in saying it's Super Bowl or bust. Like, we need to be able to compete, because if you get close and you just miss out like the 49ers did, well, you don't want to turn around and tear it down because you're right there. You need to make your small improvements, figure out a way, and then you could, if the game goes a little differently, you are the Super Bowl champion. So that's just it's so difficult to gauge how these things are going to go. But for them, I would label it more of like a missed opportunity rather than a total failure, because while he is on his rookie contract, being on his rookie contract means he's cheap and you can put players around him, but it also means that he's still a young quarterback. He's still got growing and developing to do. So the fact that he wasn't exactly able to shoulder the load like a Patrick Mahomes can do at this point in his career. I mean, he's only in his second year as the starter for that team, right? It was his first year. Because last year, correct? Am I right about that, Kenny? This was just his first full season as a starter for them.
He's been 2 years in the league, but one full season under his belt.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like losing my mind there for a second. Yeah. So just one full season as the starter, went into the year still with that Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, who is it kind of question. So it's tough because he is still young. He's very good for being as young as he is, but he's still got growing and developing to do to get to that like upper echelon elite tier where he can totally just put a game on his shoulders and say, we're going to go win this thing, which is what Super Bowl winning quarterbacks are typically able to do. Let's bring Butters back up here. Go ahead. I
was going to say, I think it's like what do you call it? Ricky Bobby's dad. It's like if you're not first, you're last scenario. And then, he's sober and he's like, well, hell, boy, you can be like second, third, you can even be fourth. It's if they finish high, it is what it is. I went through too many years of being, the double decade of decadence where we just couldn't win a dang thing. And I wouldn't say that. I mean, obviously you would want to win when he's at his lowest value, is best for everybody on that team. But I think the number one ranked rusher, Myles Garrett, is going to have something to say about that. So it'll be another year that the Niners don't win. Go Browns.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a Browns perspective too, it's like if people say, well, if we don't go to the Super Bowl this year, we should just tear it down. I don't want to tear it down. It's not a complete failure. I want to be able to compete. I would like to compete again next year. So I think that would be more of the philosophy mindset for them. So I see Andrew, then you said in the chat, total failure. That's a very strong set of words. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, but I get your point. I take your meaning on that. Butters, what's going on, man?
Not much. So because of Andrew's topic, got me thinking, because I forgot about this one. But so Trevor Lawrence got paid, and he got paid without really producing the kind of stats you expect a guy that got paid what he got paid. I think the running joke right now is his stats next to random quarterback one, and that random quarterback one that matches is Daniel Jones.
And it's also Gardner Minshew.
And obviously Daniel Jones ain't worth $55 million a year. So now Tua and Brock are going to be the next two big contracts coming up. The Dolphins already kind of made the comment that they don't really think Tua's worth the max, and obviously his agent's going to be like, well, I got a better QBR. I throw for more yards, less picks. I can, my stats are 10 times better than $55 million a year Trevor Lawrence. So my question is, if you're a GM, would you pay Brock Purdy and or Tua Trevor Lawrence money, or potentially even more technically? Or do you think they should be paid less because of the upside being lower?
Man, I would hate to be in that position, because as an NFL franchise, the importance of the quarterback position. And if you've got a guy that could be your long-term franchise QB that gives you an opportunity to win and potentially win championships, it's really hard to let that guy walk or trade him and then go face your fan base and say, well, we're just going to be mediocre instead of really trying to win, which is what the Browns did forever. And that's why we're so, even if the whole Deshaun thing ends up not ever working out for whatever reason, still thrilled that they went and made the move, signed the guy, and gave us the opportunity to at least have a shot at winning something. So me personally, I've never been like a humongous Tua Tagovailoa fan. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's worth that kind of money, that like the max. Brock Purdy, on the other hand, I could see him, the way he's played and the way he runs that offense for them, I think he might be worth it. But I don't know. What about you, Kenny?
I think if I was a front office guy, I would be asking myself, if I put any one of these guys on the team that's not expected to perform well this year, how are they actually going to do? I don't see Brock Purdy running his way out of situations. I can see Tua running out of some situations and maybe performing a little bit better. So I might be a little bit more apt to want to give him more money. But ultimately, I don't think either one of those guys is going to take Carolina Panthers or whoever you want to say out of the doldrums right now. If you had a guy like, Patrick Mahomes, I just think that he could go 8-8, 9-8 with whatever, anybody. You know what I mean? Like, he's just got that moxie. And I think that's what you want to pay for. Now, if I'm a guy that has a couple of Ferraris in the car and I'm basically just need a trigger man, either one of those, the $50 million might be worth it to get to the Super Bowl, So it just depends what I have on the team at the time, and then with some guys like Carolina, they have such a plethora of space in their cap. It might not be anything just to pay them that, just to get any or some kind of stability.
Yeah, that's all good points. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, both guys get paid. That's just the trend we're seeing. It's the way it's going. Now how much do they get max, whatever? Are they the next highest paid quarterback in the entire league? Blah, blah, blah. We'll see how it goes. But I do think, that's what we're seeing. And it's kind of why we're high on what Andrew Berry went ahead and risked, and Jimmy Haslam and the whole organization with Deshaun, because you see, like you said, Butters, Trevor Lawrence is getting paid all this money now, and he has not produced anywhere close to what Deshaun produced his first 3 seasons before he got his contract. So, and that was his first contract before he came here. So it's a quarterback's world, and they're getting all that money.
Yep.
Andrew Jackson, Kenny, he wants to know, how stoked are you for the Chargers game in November?
That was actually going to be something I was going to say about, like, if I was going to be like selfish and for games to win on that schedule question that you asked, we got to beat the Raiders and we got to beat the Chargers so we can party hard, man, because I am freaking pumped for that. It's going to be a blast. I know Peter R is going to be there. I know Brad's got tickets. Like, it's going to be a good time. We got to get together somewhere. I got to get some kind of backers party going Saturday night. We definitely want to hit up a college game. So Zips and Kent State, I think we were talking about, the wagon wheel game is coming around, boys, and we're going to be there to see that wagon wheel get hoisted by somebody. So it's going to be a blast, man. I am pumped.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So we'll have to figure out all the logistics for that. For anybody watching, listening, doesn't understand what we're talking about. So for the Chargers game, what is the deal, Kenny? Like, what all is going on? How many people are coming to that? It's kind of like a dog pack get together.
It's a dog pack get together. As for the Chargers game, it's November 3rd, I believe. We're going to get up, probably leave. I'll be there around Friday. And what we want to do is we want to connect, have some fun, talk Browns, and we're going to hit up the game, tailgate. We want to do some stuff Saturday too. So it looks like the Akron Zips and the Kent State Golden Flashes are playing. That is a signature game because it is the wagon wheel game, and they play for this wagon wheel every year. So it will be an awesome, awesome event. And I would like to get everybody together somewhere in the Cleveland area and the Saturday night before the game and have a good time. So we're still figuring it out, but it'll be a blast regardless.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like you said, we know not everybody obviously is going to be able to go to the game, but if we can all get together Saturday night before the game, have like a good meetup, get together with all these dog pack members, it would be a ton of fun. And especially, who knows, I'm just throwing this out there. I have nothing in the works, but I can pitch it to the guys over at Lockerverse. Maybe we can even put together some sort of event with them for everybody to come and hang out and do something that way as well. So we'll see. There's going to be a lot of opportunities this season to do some cool things, and we're really excited. We got Andrew Jackson on stage. Let's hear what you got, and then we'll probably close it down after you, buddy.
All right. Well, let's give a shout out to Kenny for this, because all of this started because was it April, late April, early May, whenever the schedule came out. So someone posed a question like, "Hey, somebody game." It may have been myself, but I don't know who it was. Someone posed a question about, "Hey, let's go," about what game are you going to go to? Kenny says, "I'm going to the Chargers game." I took that at face value. So I went and bought tickets for the Chargers game. And then he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll buy Chargers game tickets too." And then it's just one of those things that's kind of just more, almost like everyone's bringing a friend kind of thing. Like every dog pack member kind of bringing a friend. And I don't know. I just want to kind of give my hats off to Kenny for this, because it's like one of those cool things. Because like if he didn't suggest that, like I probably wouldn't have went and bought tickets literally minutes later, and it probably wouldn't have morphed into what it is with everybody coming. Pastor Rob, Brad, everybody. It's one of those things like, if you're ever questioning yourself, like, "Hey, should I join a dog pack if I should do this?" Hell yeah, because a lot of us have already hung out before, separately, but this is going to be a cool time that I think to hang out all together. So I just want to give my hats off to Kenny, for really just, I don't know how truthful or how great it was at the beginning of it, but I was like, you know what? There, bam, let's go get it. So, Kenny, thank you for just even giving the inspiration to start this, buddy. And that's all I got, bud.
Hey, you're my dog, buddy. And you know what? It all started when we went to Indy last year. It was a dynamite time that we had, and it'll just morph into something even better. And we just got to start doing it every year, man, because we had a good time.
Yeah, and I just want to say, thank you to Andrew, and thank you to all you guys here in the audience and the Discord and everybody who's in the dog pack. You guys are awesome. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys supporting the show. For you guys, I know it's a $5 a month commitment. It's really probably not that big of a deal, or not even a thought to you guys, but to us, it all makes a big difference. It's how we've been able to grow the show. It's how we've been able to add new equipment, new microphones and cameras, and a whole new studio set, and all this new software that I'm using to edit the podcast and do everything. You guys make a big difference. So the show, when we say it wouldn't be possible without you guys, we literally mean it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thank you for supporting the show. And we're having a ton of fun doing these Dog Pack Discord shows. So if you guys out there listening, watching, are interested in this, you think it looks like a good time and you want to try it out, head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member, join the Patreon, jump in the Discord. You can do a 7-day free trial, test it out, see what you think. These guys in here are awesome. We've got some ladies in the Discord too, in the Dog Pack. Everybody is so cool. Diehard Browns fans and some of the best people you guys are ever going to meet. And that November 3rd game is going to be a ton of fun, man. I cannot wait for that weekend.
Hell yeah, man.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you to everybody again in the audience, jumping up here and participating. You guys are the best in the world. And that's it. I am on vacation, so I will be back next week. And the next thing you guys see from us will be Kenny Max Throwback Thursday with Phil Dawson. That is a good episode. Make sure you guys don't miss that. And then when I get back, I believe either Sunday or Monday, will be all the podcast recording footage, all the content from Deshaun Watson 7-on-7 camp up in Berea. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a ton of fun. Justin and Blake are going to have a very good time. So,
And no doubt.
yeah. So we appreciate everybody again tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Let's go Browns.
Go Brownies.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.